thinking patterns like, is this really my own goals, or is this like someone else's goals? That's not the source of the problem. That's your thinking about. Thinking is basically your way of escaping this bad feeling that you don't want to feel. This very spot in your journey is the spot that you need to go through. Hello guys! This video is going to help you if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're not really sure about like what path you're taking in life, or maybe you find yourself in a routine where you're just like going through the motions, but you don't really sure like why you're doing this. You know, is this the right thing to be doing? And if you usually in those like situations, you can find yourself in thinking patterns like, is this really my own goals, or is this like someone else's goals? Is this something that I truly want for myself, or is this something that my teacher or my mom or like the society has just put into me through like mainstream social conditioning? You know, how do I know if what I'm doing is really what I want? So basically, the first thing to realize is that there isn't really like this thing of like my own goals or like someone else's goals. It doesn't really exist. You know, there's like a much better way of thinking about it that is like much more correct to what reality of it really is. And really, if you think about it, like let's say that you are studying in some kind of program in a university, and you start thinking, maybe this isn't the program that I really want. Maybe this is just a program that my parents told me. Even in this situation, when you have started this program, this means that you didn't have any clear idea of what you actually wanted. It wasn't like they didn't really force you to do anything. It was like you didn't have any better ideas at that point. And if you were in a spot where you don't have any ideas of what to do, this means that maybe you don't have any actual fixed goals of like specific goals, like how do you want to like be in life. Maybe you just have like a general goal of like, I want to be like successful in life. I don't really know what it means. I don't really know how I'm gonna do it, but I want to be successful. And that's pretty valid. You know, in the beginning, when you don't know, you don't know how to do these goals, but you sort of like, you do it like broad strokes first. You figure out, okay, I want to probably do this. At the time, you had your goal of like being successful. And then maybe your parents came to you and they said, do this, be a lawyer. You can make a lot of money, you're gonna be a respectable member of the society and so on. And it was an idea for you, like how to be successful, and it was the best idea that you've had at the time. That's why you took the damn program. So, okay, now you maybe realize that you want to do it some other way, but it is still your goal. You followed your own goal and your own passion of like trying to be successful. Or, maybe maybe the goal wasn't even like be successful. Maybe the goal was just like listen to my parents, because you thought that like that was how people like get forward in life. Maybe you don't even think that anymore, but at the time that was your goal, and that's the point. Like everything that you're doing it is your goal. And also think about like any successful, like by their own standards person in this life. Whatever they're doing, like if they're painting or if they're singing, at some point in their life somebody told them like try this, try singing. Then maybe they started liking it and they started like doing it more and more. But at the beginning, like there was like some inception point of it. So you could actually say, like you could take any successful person and you can say, oh, this isn't their goal because they took it like from a movie or from a friend or from a commercial. It doesn't work that way. We take all our inspiration from outer world. It's like normal. It doesn't mean that our goals are someone else's goals. Whatever you're doing right now, there are like in one way or another, they are your own goals. And then people usually say like, so what's the problem then? I go to like I go study and I sit there and like do these dull tests. I read these dull books. I don't really want to do that. I feel stupid, I feel this and that, but when I go back and go home and like I start playing my video games, I just feel more alive, I feel more free. Doesn't it mean that I'm doing someone else's goals when I'm studying? And I would say no, like you can't really say that, because how you feel while you're doing something is based on many different variables. Like there's like so much that goes into that. Like you might have some kind of fears about studying. You may have some kind of like shame or like some other emotions that are kind of trapped in your body. So like for example, if you feel shamed when you like fail at some tests because suddenly you think, oh, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm like maybe I'm just like this stupid person that can't do anything right, or like maybe I'm not learning fast enough. A thing like that, like a hidden fear or shame, can really change your experience of like studying or really many other things. So it's worth to like look deeper into like how exactly you're feeling instead of just like labeling it, you know, this is my goal, this is not my goal. Also, many times what happens is that people, like by even having these thoughts, like this is my goal, this is not my goal, even by having those thoughts, they just like they take their own energy and becomes harder for them to figure out what they really want to do and what they don't want to do. Because for example, if you have someone who maybe thinks about being a musician, but then he works at like as a waiter to just like scrap some money, you know, to just like get by. In one state of mind, he might think, you know, I'm doing this just to get my money. I will know when to stop, and at the same time, you know, I'm gonna like be learning how to play the guitar, or you know, this and that. This is like pretty high vibration. But if instead of that he's like doing the waitering, doing the dishes, but at the same time actually thinking, this is not my goal, this is just like some slave, like this is the society that just like slaved me into it just so I can get by, and I don't really want that, I want to be a musician, I'm really like wasting my life here, damn. Like those thoughts alone can create a lot of like tension in his body, like in his energy. And so like after coming back from this job, he will be much more exhausted, and it will be that much harder for him to like figure out what does he really want, like what should he focus his energy on. So many times by these thoughts, that's actually like the thoughts themselves are the problem. Like it's not your current situation, it's your attitude towards the situation. Okay, so basically what do we do about it? Like how do we solve it? Step one is come back to the present moment. Because you see what happens if you find yourself in a situation and you're thinking, which one is my goal, which one is not my goal? Like, that's not the source of the problem, that's your thinking about it. The source of the problem is that you are doing something and you have some kind of bad feeling about it. You feel it being wrong, like in some way. You are doing like a job or like a hobby or something, and there is just something about that situation that isn't right with you. You don't know what it is, but it's like some kind of pain or some kind of feeling that you don't like. And so in this situation, your thoughts like, oh, maybe this isn't my goal, it's someone else's goal. Whose goal is it? You know, who, like, is it your goal? You know, is it your goal? Did you give this goal to me? This pattern of thinking is basically your way of escaping this bad feeling that you don't want to feel. So first step is that we have to go back, like we have to stop thinking about it that way. We have to realize that everything that we're doing right now, it is my own goal. It is your goal. And you come back to the moment, you start figuring out how do you actually feel about it, like what is like wrong with it, like what is wrong with this situation, like why do you need to think those things. Step two, after you come back to the present moment, is basically in this present moment that you come back to, you need to start to cultivate the feeling of abundance, feeling of you giving the world value, light, love, things like that. Because basically what happened is that you came into a situation and for some reason you didn't feel like this situation was the abundant miracle that the world actually is. And instead you started feeling that it was something like darker. You feel like you're doing the wrong thing, that you have walked away from your own path in life and just like wandered into some other territory where you shouldn't even be. So we have to come back from that. We have to be fully like in this situation, in this moment, whatever you're doing, like, you know, experiencing your work or your hobby or like whatever it is, and bring your own feeling of abundance and love to this moment. If it's hard for you to just, you know, start feeling abundant like just like that, of course it's like hard. But I'm saying at least find that feeling somewhere, like in your memory, or in meditation, or wherever you may like create even a glimpse of it. You can do it, for example, by affirmations like, I'm doing everything right now. I'm in the very position where I need to be right now. Everything is going on as it's supposed to go on. This is very key. You are not off your path. You are on the very spot where you need to be. It's just that this part of your path might look in an unexpected way to you. But this is what you need to be doing. This very moment, this very spot in your journey is the spot that you need to go through. And then you kind of like get this feeling and you kind of just like fit it in the current situation. Fully like experience this moment, and then you could like, you ask yourself, okay, like I have this glimpse of like feeling of abundance. Let's try to apply it to like this situation. How would this situation actually change? That's when you start getting insights. That's when you'll start getting like new ways of experiencing the situation. And eventually you'll figure out like which way, like what do you want to do? What do you want to stop doing? Stuff like that. Now these 2 steps are basically already enough, but there's also like step 3 that can actually help you gain more logical, more like conscious insights about this situation. You try to understand your current situation, like what are you struggling with in terms of what motivation comes from fear and what motivation comes from love. Like what kind of thoughts are you thinking about, like, maybe if it's about like quitting your job and like investing in a business or something, like, okay, so what do you think about it more? Is it like fearful thoughts of what's going to happen, like when you do it, like how are you going to eat, how are you going to get money, what people are going to say about you, like will you be able to come back if you fail? Or maybe like fear about staying in the same job for like 30 years, like, oh, I'll have a boring life. Is it thoughts like that? Or is it more thoughts like, I want to be a musician, it's going to be like so amazing, I'm going to just like sit in the studio for hours and just like try different songs, and in the end I'm going to send them to all the people I know, and then they're going to think it's like so amazing. Is it thoughts like that? Try to sort your like thoughts and experiences that go into your current problematic state, so to speak, into fearful ones and loving ones. Because when you do that, you really start understanding what's going on really in this situation, what's going on in your life really. Before you understand that, most of the thoughts that you will be thinking will basically be like fearful, and you won't even understand that they're fearful because you are trying to like get away from fear. You're trying to like get away from feelings. And you start coming up with this like logical ways of like solving it. Like, is it someone else's goal? Is some other person that tried to like give me their own goals? Like stupid people. So coming back to the moment, cultivating your own feelings of abundance, sorting out your own experience into fearful ones and loving ones, and figuring out from that should get you a really, really long way in figuring out what you really want and which goals are your own, or someone else's, so to speak. So anyway, I hope you figure out everything you want about your goals. I'm gonna keep releasing videos on this channel to try to help you, guide you into this like awakening process. Please put likes on the videos and subscribe to the channel. And thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time.